Hello, Jack here. Welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be learning how to create a 3D style logo in the style of a sketch or drawing. So in this tutorial we're going to be using Photoshop, and we're going to be learning a wide variety of tools and skills such as the line tool, the brush tool, the pen tool, the text tool. We'll be learning how to create a pattern background, and we're going to be customizing some text. Right, okay, let's jump right in. Okay, so what you want to do first is you want to come to New File, and you want to make sure your width and your height are set to 800 pixels. Make sure your resolution is set to 72 and your units are set to pixels inch, and then click Create. So once you've got this open, you see these guides here. They can be helpful in some situations, but at the moment these particular guides where they're placed, we don't really need them unless you think they'd be helpful. You know, feel free to leave them where they are. Otherwise for now I'm gonna hide them. So to do that, if obviously you want to do the same, you want to come up to View, then Show, come down to Show, and then click Guides, and that will turn them off. So what you want to do now is you want to click this little lock icon next to the background layer, or on the background layer, and that will just basically convert into a normal layer. So you just have the white background. And by the way, to undo that, that's Control Z. So yeah, now that you got this, you then want to come over to your line tool. If you haven't got your line tool already selected, and say it appears as the rectangle, this rectangle tool, you want to come over, click and hold, and then drag down to the line tool. So once you've got that, you want to make sure your fill is set to black, or you can do it here. Make it sure it's on the solid color option. Make sure your stroke is set to none, so there's no extra sort of thickness to it, so it's just as it is. Make sure the size is set to 1 point, or 1 pixel rather. And yeah, so what you now want to do is you want to hold down Alt, zoom, and scroll up on the mouse wheel to zoom in, and you want to zoom in as far as it will go. Then once you've done that, you want to press the H key, and you want to drag this up to the top left corner. So once you've got here, you then want to select the line tool again, and I'd say around about 6 pixels in width, and then if you just make sure you got that crosshair right at the very top of the canvas, so around there, and if you just set that to 6, okay, hold down Shift, click and drag down to the very bottom of the canvas. So as you can see, if you just keep, if you leave it, it'll stop moving, but if you start moving again, it will start moving again. So if you just keep moving the mouse around, that should get it to the bottom. So yeah, once you got to the bottom, as you can see, there's a pink line there. So that is your indication that, or that is the indication that the shape is snapping to the edge of the canvas, or some kind of edge. So that's obviously good. So once that's right at the very bottom and you've got that pink line, then want to let go of both the Shift key and your left mouse button, and that will put your put your line on the canvas where it needs to be. So what you want to do now is you want to hold down Control, press 0, and that will fit the the scale of so that will just fit the whole canvas in, so you can just basically see everything. So yeah, once you've done that, you then want to right click on your shape layer and you want to click rasterize layer, and that will just make it more directly editable, just like the what you did with the background layer basically. So now you want to hold on Control and press J to duplicate the layer. Hold down Shift and press the right arrow key to move it along. And as you can see, I mean, for me personally, that's a little bit too narrow, so I'm going to undo that. Control Z, hold down Shift, press the right arrow key until I'm happy with it. So I'm going to make that a little bit narrower. I'd say that's about right, for me personally. So yeah, obviously you want to repeat that if you've undone that. And yeah, I think that's fine. So once you've got that, you then want to hold down Control and press E to merge the two layers, and then obviously duplicate those again, Shift and right arrow key. And you basically want to just keep doing this until you've got right to the right edge of the canvas. Okay, so once you've done that, you then want to merge all those layers down. So that's Control E, by the way, just in case I didn't mention it. So once you've done that, you now want to hold down Control and press A to select all, and hold down Control and press X to cut, and then hold down Control and press V to paste. And once you've done that, you then want to delete the bottom layer because that's blank, there's no need for it anymore. So what that's done is that's basically deleted everything outside the canvas. So as you could see there, it went over a bit, so that just makes sure there's just nothing on the outside. It just means it's everything everything in the shape layer, or all you're seeing of the shape layer is what's in the canvas. So once you've got that, you then want to hold down Control and press J again, obviously to duplicate the layer. Then you want to hold down Control press T to transform, right click on the layer and click rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Doesn't matter if it's counterclockwise or clockwise, it will more or less look the same anyway, as it's pretty much uniform. So click that and press enter. You then want to hold down Control press A again, and this time with the move tool selected, you want to come up here. You can see these icons here, these are to align the layer to certain positions. So you've got the vertical, the horizontal center, and then you've got the vertical center. So if you just click both those just to make sure it's centered, and as you can see it's already centered, but just in case it isn't, it's just a good habit to get into. It's just good to check that. So yeah, so once you've got that, you then want to merge those layers again, and you've now got your grid. So after that, you now want to make the opacity 13, so that just makes it a nice subtle kind of background. And yeah, so once you've got that, you then want to merge those layers, and then you got your background, your sort of full background. So now onto the text. So obviously come over to your text tool. I mean, you can use Arial if you want, but or any font really, but I'm going to use the font Prime Time, and it's nice and sort of solid, and there are no sort of irregularities. It's quite kind of uniform and quite blocky. So it's the kind of font I'm looking for this kind of design. So what you want to do now is you want to make sure your size is set to 576. You then want to click in the canvas, obviously, and then you want to type your letter. So I'm going to go with K, just as there's kind of more to do with it, more to kind of show you. Whereas with O, there's not really a lot you can do because there aren't really any sort of edges or anything. So, because what we're going to do is we're going to make this kind of like a wireframe kind of 3D. We're going to give this a kind of wireframe 3D sort of look. So you then want to center this again. So as you remember, Control A and align the font. So what you now want to do is you want to right click the layer, click rasterize type, double click it, and then you want to click stroke, make sure the size is set to 1, and make sure the position is set to outside, and make sure the color is black, and then click OK. You then want to make fill 0%. That'll just give it this nice sort of this outline. So if you right click again and click rasterize layer style, that will just make it into, well, that will just convert it into a regular layer. So there'll be no effects as such. It'll just be the layer basically. So yeah, once you've done that, you then want to duplicate that or duplicate that. You hold down Shift now, and then click and drag. Actually, no, it's not Shift. Sorry, Control. Ooh. Actually, I think it's Control. Shift Alt. Yeah, there you go, Shift Alt. Sorry. So, yeah, I'd say make it kind of around there. So what you now want to do, so what I'm thinking is this layer here, so this one here, the bottom, it's a bit confusing, but if you drag that up to the top, because just to make it a bit clearer, this is going to be our sort of front. This is going to be our top layer. So the bottom layer is basically just going to be the kind of the 3D area, the behind bits basically. So what you now want to do is you want to come up to your Magic Wand tool if it's not already there, and you've got your quick selection tool. Just as with the line tool, you want to click and hold and then drag down to the Magic Wand tool. So what you now want to do with this top layer selected, you now want to select the inside of that layer. You want to come down to your back layer. You want to cut, then paste, and put this back in position, so back where it was. Just to make it a bit easier to do, I'd hide this layer, just so you can ensure you've got that in the right position. And it looks okay, I think. Yep, I think that's fine. So yeah, now can obviously turn that back on. By the way, it's this little eye icon, so that's just to hide or to reveal. So what you want to do with this layer now is you want to decrease this opacity to 25. So that just makes it a bit clearer to kind of what's what. so you can sort of differentiate kind of which layer is in, which layer is in front and which layers at the back. So it kind of adds to that kind of 3D look as well. Because you can see there's obviously, because we've decreased the opacity, so it kind of makes it look a little translucent in a way. So yeah, so once you've done that, the next step is adding the lines. So yeah, so what you want to do now is you want to, again, obviously, well, actually, just forgotten, is actually the brush tool you want to come up to. So click the brush tool, come up to the options, make the size 1 pixel, and make sure the hardness is set to 100. Make sure the color is black. You then want to zoom all the way in again, or maybe just as much as you need to. As you can see, when you zoom in a certain amount, you get these little pixel guides, these squares, so sort of tell you which pixel is which, and where every pixel is. So if you just zoom in as much as you need to, so I'm just sort of going to zoom in as much as it will go before you can't sort of see these edges. So what you want to do now is you want to make a new layer. Yeah, so once you made your new layer, you then want to basically click these lines in. So these are going to be the edges. As you can see, there's a big gap here, and you obviously wouldn't get that in a 3D letter. So if you just basically just do it diagonally, it can be a bit kind of trial and error, this bit, because it can be a little difficult to sort of distinguish the exact kind of point that the line would start, because sometimes you can leave some sort of gaps on the edges as well. So yeah, it's just about experimenting, really. So if you zoom out just to see if it looks okay, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now that you've done that, basically the whole fade thing is to indicate that these parts are behind certain parts of the text. So now that you've put that line in, that's fine, because you'd be able to see that on the outside. But now this line, you now want to fade, because it's going to be because this is basically the section it's behind, this whole section here. So that will be on this layer. So you want to zoom all the way in, and you want to make sure you only have this line selected. So anything that's appearing within this area, you want to select of this line. So now you want to cut and paste again, put that back where it was. You can always double check. Yep, that's fine. Okay, and then you want to fade that again, so 25%. And as you can see, that you've now got the effect. So as I say, it's pretty much just repeating this with every corner. So I'm just going to do that with every corner now. By the way, the shortcut to the brush tool I'm using is the B key. So that just makes, just things a little bit simpler than having to, do your thing and then having to come up here again. I mean, it just makes the process a bit quicker, really. So there you go. by the way, something I forgot to mention, this is something called the rectangular marquee tool. Just allows you to basically just select stuff. It's pretty straightforward, but yeah, just thought I'd mention that because I forgot to mention it earlier. But yeah, there you go. Okay, I think that's pretty much it then. So what you now want to do is you want to select all of your layers, so shift and click, and then you want to hold down shift. No, you don't, sorry. You want to hold down control, press J to duplicate them all. Then want to hold down control, press E to merge them all. And then with these bottom layers, you want to then shift and click to select them all again. Hold down shift and click this folder icon to put them all in a new group. So you then want to hide that one, but this is just so all the bits are there for you to, edit or change if you need to. So yeah, once you got that, you then want to hold down control, press A, and then center that. And once that's centered, now we're pretty much just moving on to the last stage of this tutorial. It's you want to make a new layer. We're going to add some labels. So if you select the line tool, and if you just basically just draw some lines sort of pointed at just random parts of the letter, just to add a bit of kind of depth to the design. And yes, I think that's what I'm going to do for now. So then you want to add some text, so we're going to make this text really small, so I'd go with 6 for now. Say just use, I think Arial should be, or felt tip woman's a good one. Just makes it look all sort of sketchy. Or you can go with Gotham, which is another one I quite like. It's up to you. Of course, I'll leave links to all these fonts in the description. But yeah, it's what I've done. I mean, obviously you can put whatever you want. If you're doing this for yourself, it's just a personal thing. You can put all your different hobbies, whatever. It could be whatever you want. If you're a company, you could put all the company's values. I mean, it's, as I say, it's totally up to you. I mean, you're not really going to be able to read it anyway, so it doesn't really matter what you put. It's just sort of nice to add that extra kind of depth into the design, in my opinion. So I just thought it'd be quite nice to add. I think what I'm going to put is basically just all the things that I'm going to teach in my tutorials. So as you can see, you can't really read it at all. It's just sort of for the design. But it's just, as I say, it's just nice to have that extra depth in there, that extra detail. Something I quite like to do is add a little kind of underscore, just to make it look kind of sketchy and sort of code-like, if that makes sense, rather than it just being plain text. It just, as I say, it just adds to that kind of. These are just ideas, as I say. It's all up to you, but I just think it has quite a nice touch. And it's T for the text tool, by the way. Sorry that I'm mentioning these things way after I do them. I'm just getting so involved in this, I keep forgetting, so apologies for that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. So yeah, that's pretty much done. So the last step is of course saving it. So what I tend to do is hold down Control and press Shift and Alt and hold and Alt, Control Shift Alt, and then press S, and that basically brings up an option called Save for Web. It just gives you all these options. It's just something I've been used to doing. So I'm going to save mine as, so in this section there's a JPEG, put the quality up to 100. Of course, if there are certain websites that have size limits, of course you can check that here. If it's too big, you can decrease the quality to sort of match that size, but that's quite small. It's only like a few hundred kilobytes or so, so that's fine. So once you've done that, you then want to click Save, and I'm just gonna go up. I'm just gonna, yeah, so there you go. And yeah, just basically choose your location, choose a name, and there you go. That's saved. So something else you probably want to do is save it as a PSD as well, just so you have that as a backup. It's probably best if you do this a lot earlier on, just in case something happens and you lose all your work, obviously, just like anything really. So yeah, just save that just so you have it there. And yeah, there you go. Right, okay, that was pretty much it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something. I hope you got something from it. And if you're interested in seeing anything else like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications bell on to stay updated, and feel free to leave a like or a dislike, or if you have any constructive criticism you might want to leave in the comments, you're more than welcome to fire away if you want to. And otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.